Good morning, friends. Pinotuni, thank you for joining us on our live broadcast of Asalha Full Moon Day religious observances. As you may have seen some of the programs that we've uploaded, we start off with observing precepts, worshipping the Buddha, reflections, and then there will be lots of Dhamma talks in English and Sinhala for the well-being and to support your practice of Dhamma. So today is a special day, the significance which I will explain after Buddha Puja. And we hope you will join us throughout the day, because today is a great day for Buddhists and Buddhist history. So the first half of the day until lunchtime we will do in English. After lunch we will have chanting, invoking blessings for your good health. And then we have 3 sermons in Sinhala. After that, around 6:30, we will start our usual Buddha Puja. But today is the invitation for Vas or rains retreat. And then after that we will chant the most important discourse in the Buddha Dhamma, the Buddha's first sermon, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta at around 7:15 this evening. Okay, so we will start the program with observing 8 precepts. So 8 precepts include 3 more precepts than the usual precept. Even in the usual 5 precepts, the third one is more significant and different, especially to do with our senses. So we will be observing the precepts first. So please say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa 3 times. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Pānātipātā vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Adinādāna vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Abrahmacharya vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Musāvādā vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Surāmiraya majjapamā daṭṭhāna vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Vikāla bhojana vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Nacca gīta vādita visūka dassana mālā gandha vilepana dhārana mandana vibhūsanatthāna vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Uccāsayana mahāsayana vīramani sikkhappadaṃ samādhiyāmi, තිසරණේන සද්ධින් අට්ඨංග උපෝසත සීලං ධම්මං අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබ්බං. So that is the end of observing 8 precepts. So as I said earlier, other than normal days, we observe 8 precepts. And if you are new to this, the 8 precepts are: 1, I refrain from destroying or harming living beings. 2, I refrain from taking what is not given. 3, I refrain from any sexual or sensual activities for the day. 4, I refrain from incorrect speech. 5, I refrain from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs, which leads to carelessness. 6, I refrain from eating at forbidden times. 7, I refrain from dancing, singing, music, attending entertainments, wearing garlands, perfumes, and beautifying our body with cosmetics. 8, I refrain from lying on luxurious seats or sleeping in luxurious beds. So these are the 8 precepts that you observe, and today is a special day in Buddhist history and in Buddhism for the whole world. So therefore, it is significant that if you had observed 8 precepts, you will feel the great difference, and you will feel the day of participating a worthwhile gesture. So first of all, we will worship the Buddha, and then after that I will explain the great significance of today. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vichacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarathi sattha deva manussanang buddho bhagavati. Buddhang jivitang yava nibbanang saranang gacchami. Ye ca buddha atita ca ye ca buddha anagata. Paccapanna ca ye buddha ahang vandami sabbada. Natti me saranang anyang buddho me saranang varang. Etena sacca vajjena hotu me jai mangalam. Uttamangena vandeham padapang suvaruttamang. Buddheyo kalito doso buddho khamatu tang mamang. Swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko. Ehi passiko opanayiko paccattang veditabbo vinyohiti. Dhammang jivitang yava nibbanang saranang gacchami. Ye ca dhamma atita ca ye ca dhamma anagata. Paccapanna ca ye dhamma ahang vandami sabbada. Nathi me saranang anyang dhammo me saranang varam etena sacca vajjena hotu me jaya mangalang uttamangena vandehang dhamman ca tividhang varang tammeyo khalito doso dhammo khamatu tang mamam Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samici patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidang cattari purisa yugani attha purisa puggala Esa bhagavato savaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punyakhetang lokasati Sanghang jivitang yavanibbanang saranang gacchami Ye ca sangha atita ca ye ca sangha anagata Paccapanna ca ye sangha ahang vandami sabbada Nathi me saranang anyang sangho me saranang varang Etena sacca vajjena hotu me jaya mangalang Uttamangena vandehang sanghang ca tividhottamang Sangheyo khalito dosa sangho khamatu tang mamang Kanasarappadittena dipena tamadang sina Tilokadipang sambuddhang pujayami tamonudang Gandha sambhara yuttena dhupenahang sugandhina Pujaye pujaniyantang puja bhajanamuttamang Vannagandha gunapetang etang kusuma santating Pujayami munindassa siripada saroruhe Pujemi buddhang kasumena nena punyena metena ca hotu mokkhaṃ Pupphaṃ milayati yatha idam me kayo tatha yati vinasa bhavaṃ Adhivasetu no bhante sabbhaṃ saddhāya pujitaṃ Anukampang upadaya patiganhatu uttama Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbathani supatititang Saririka dhatu mahabodhim buddharupang sakalang sada Yassa mule nisinno ve sabbari vicayang aka Patta sabbanyutang sattha vandetang bodhipadapang Ime ete mahabodhi lokanathena pujita Aham pite namassami bodhiraja namattute Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang khamami bhante bhuri panye tathagata Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang khamami dhamma sanditthika akalika Kayena vacha cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayam khamami sangha supatipanna anuttara Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam Sambe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam Sambe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam Sambe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu Samba dukkha pamunchatu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu Okay, so you are joining us onto our live broadcast of Esala or Asalha Full Moon Day celebration, the religious observance at London Mindfulness Meditation Center. So we have organized this to support your religious practice from home. So you are joining us either by Facebook or YouTube channel lmmc.online. So if your friends not have Facebook, can you please direct them to lmmc.online in YouTube so that they can participate as well. So today is Asalha or Esala. Okay, so Esala or Asalha means the full moon day or the month of July. In our calendar in Asia, we call it the month of Asalha. Esala, Asad. Okay, so this is the second full moon day after Vesak. So Vesak was on Esala or Vesak, Jet, Asad. So this is quite a great significant full moon day, and it is good to start with that recollection, our religious observances. So if we go somewhat like chronological order, the first thing that took place in our Buddhist history on this full moon day would be the conception of the Bodhisattva in Queen Mahamaya Devi's womb. So if you are children joining us, you might remember Queen Mahamaya's dream where an elephant came and then circumambulated 3 times before it entered the womb. So that is the Bodhisattva who later was named Prince Siddhartha, the to-be Buddha. And the second event would be the birth of Prince Rahul. Besides, he started to realize truly within himself, even as a great prince, I am also subject to old age, illness and death. Once he realized that, he thought maybe there should be an answer. So after he went back to his palace, Prince Siddhartha then witnessed the entertaining dances, and in that night he also saw his son Prince Rahula But then he decided that he should take the path for the well-being of everyone. Out of compassion, he let go of his what could be attachment to everything, and slowly left and took the path of the holy person. So this day is when that great renunciation took place, abhinikkhamana or abhinishkramana. So he left everything, the worldly connections, he left, and then took the life of a holy person. So he cut his hair, donned the robes, and then started to seek teachers who could help him in his ascetic life. So it is recorded that he went to Uddakaramputta and Alarakalam, where he attained jhanas. So this great renunciation is also significant, and it took place on Asalha or Esala full moon day in July. Now we do know that he struggled for 6 years, following great ascetic practices, which people believed at that time would bring relief, enlightenment, or what we call vimukti or vimutti, freedom. So there were lots of viewpoints, lots of theories during the Buddha's time, even before he became Buddha. So Buddha underwent all of those. So not satisfied perhaps with what he attained, he thought to this, because that is not true enlightenment. So he took a different path, began to eat food, and then his 5 friends, ascetics, Kondanya, Badya, Vappa, Mahanama, Assaji, they left him, thinking that ascetic Gautama started to desert the austerities, the rigorous ascetic practices which could have led him for freedom. So ascetic Gautama realized that this is more harmful than supportive to freedom. He took his own way and then began to enlightenment. So we know 2 months ago on Vesak full moon day, the ascetic Gautama also attained enlightenment. He became the Buddha, the so-called Buddha. So he was Supreme Buddha, self-enlightened. There was no teacher at that time. He realized that middle way, that he should take the middle path by himself, and therefore we call him self-enlightened. There was no teacher to explain how to do things. So he understood, the truth. He realized the truth, but then he did not want to share the knowledge, because he thought there would be no one to understand this deep Dhamma, deep understanding would be impossible to normal, perhaps people who are still deluded in entertainment, deluded in pleasing the senses, people who live such lifestyles. It would be very difficult to understand or even have a glimpse of the Dhamma. So he spent around 7 weeks under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, but then he had a request from Brahma to go and deliver, to share the knowledge. There are people who might understand. So he, with his great knowledge, he started to look for who would be able to understand the Dhamma. And then he thought of his teachers before he became an ascetic, and then just came to know that they had passed away. So even the teachers, Uddhakarama, Alaka, they also had passed away. But then he thought maybe the ascetics who were there with me during my struggle for enlightenment or freedom would be able to understand. So he approached them. And as he approached, these 5 ascetics couldn't stay away from him. They thought, oh, we want, he was so proud and he left us, but we are, he's come back to us again, maybe he's failed. We won't greet him, doesn't matter. Then slowly they started to think, oh, because he is of the Sakya clan, we'll just give him a seat, to show that respect. And he is a prince. So with all these things, they slowly started to change their ways of looking at things, and then eventually they all came and greeted him. And then they started to talk about why he may have come, and then at that moment the Buddha revealed that he has achieved enlightenment, he has realized the truth, and they still didn't accept him. And then he said, have I ever told you that I am the Buddha? So then Kondanya, who was one of those 8 wise men who said he would definitely become the Buddha, raising one finger on the 5th day of his birth, after his birth, he then came to his senses. No, he has never said that he has become a Buddha, so there must be something true. So then they started to calm down and then listen to what he wanted to say. So on this day, after 8 weeks, so on the full moon day of July, he preached his first sermon, which today we are chanting at 7:15, around 7:15 in the evening, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta to the 5 ascetics. Now, to take in loose context, if we say Vesak is the birth of the Buddha, we can call it Buddha Day. So today was the day when the Dhamma was made available to the world, so we can loosely call it the Dhamma Day, because if the Buddha had not delivered his first sermon, his knowledge, his wisdom, the glimpse of enlightenment for the worldly people would not have been available. So the Dhamma was made available to the world today on Asalha or Esala full moon day. So now, although there were audiences, in another context, the 5 ascetics, Kondanya, Bhadya, Vappa, Mahanama, Assaji, at the end of the sermon, they did, understand a little bit. Kondanya attained Sotapatti Phala, so that is also to say that on this full moon day, what we call Tiratana or Trividha Ratnaya or triple gem came into existence. So there was the Buddha, there was the Sangha, but the Dhamma was not available. So when the Dhamma was made available, all 3 triple gem came into existence. So that's why it's quite significant for the Buddhist world. Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha came into existence on a full moon day of Esala. So as the stories continue, obviously, there are references in the Buddhist literature that on such full moon day, Asalha full moon day, the Buddha visited Tautisa Devaloka. Now that is a plane of existence of the Devas, one of the Devalokas. And it is recorded that for the first time he preached the Abhidhamma to Matru Diviraja, who was Queen Mahamaya Devi in his previous birth, his mother, and other deities. So the deep analytical understanding of the Dhamma was first, or what we call Abhidhamma, was preached to the Devas in the Tautisa Devaloka. Some of us do know that he visited Lumbini to visit his former family friends, So he went to the Sakya kingdom, upon invitation. But then these clansmen or the people, they were quite proud. And then to diminish the pride, the Buddha, because the Sakya clan felt that he is our own person, so we don't have to show respect to him, and so and Buddha, knowing this, then he performed to show that he is the Buddha, not a relative anymore, not a person that has connections with the worldly. To show that he performed what we call the Yamaka Mahapratiharya, the twin miracles. So he rose up in the air, walked over, and made flames come from the upper part of his body and water from the lower part. So two miracles on the same occasion. So this obviously astonished the Sakya clans, and then they started to show respect to the Buddha, because he was truly an enlightened person, a very different person. So that is also the sixth event that took place in Asala full moon day. And as I said, although the triple gem arose, we also have a great significant reason, which is the commencement of rain's retreat for the Sangha. And the monks observed this because as gradually the sasana started to lay out, the Venerable's age or seniority is counted upon how many vassas or how many rains retreat one has observed. As you know the story, but for those who do not know, once people started to show interest in the Buddha's teachings, they started to enter the order of Sangha. And the Buddha's request was that do go on several paths. Two monks should not take one path. That means two monks should not go at one direction to share this wisdom or to share the Buddha Dhamma. So monks were, going, just having this, I wouldn't say that like a nomadic, but I would say that they were just going to villages and wherever they just, sharing the knowledge of the Dhamma. But it happened to be that, obviously the rainy season starts in South Asia around July. So they were continuously spreading the Dhamma, sharing the knowledge. But then obviously people started to be critical of this. Then they said, even animals and birds and insects retreat during this rainy season. Why are these Buddhist monks walking about, stampeding? Perhaps, maybe some insects might have died while they were walking, in the mud or some things like this. So, being critical, they came to the Buddha and said, they complained that these monks are actually not retreating. So the Buddha then, listening to the people, said, okay, from now on, monks should observe rain's retreat wherever they are in the world. Whether it is raining or not, this rainy season or the monsoon season should be a time for retreat. So monks, so people invite monks to stay at one place, and then they support the monk in deepening their practice in the Dhamma, their practice in meditation, and engaging in religious duties, even their own personal Vinaya reflections, monastic discipline. So devotees support that, and monks support in return, not in return, but just to guide and support the people with their spiritual practices, advance their religious observances and practices, and also deepen their Dhamma knowledge, and Pariyatti, Patipatti practice, and Pativeda realization. So those three are supported and well accumulated, accomplished during the Vassa retreat. So tonight we have at after Buddha Puja 6:45 we have the invitation program. You can join live as this as well as via Zoom. So please request for Zoom details if you do need so. And so all in all, the Vassa season starts. So therefore, the Sangha, this is quite a significant instruction for the Sangha, and the Vassa retreat starts on Asala full moon day. Now, for Sri Lankan Buddhists, there are a couple of more things that we should bear. Obviously, wherever in the land people of the origin citizens don't enter the order, it is said that normally the religion is not established. So Poson Full Moon Day was when Buddhism went to Sri Lanka. So the next few events are for Sri Lankan Buddhists quite significant. So although Buddhism went to Sri Lanka on Poson, that is the full moon day in June, although King Devanampiya embraced Buddhism, but still no one from the country became monks or entered the Sangha. So therefore, upon instruction of Arhat Mahinda, Prince Aritha, who wanted to enter the order, he was a nephew of King Devanampiya, and then he ordained as a bhikkhu and under Arhat Mahinda. So the Sasana, the Sangha Sasana, began on a full moon day like Asalha, Esala. So it is quite significant for Sri Lankan Buddhists, because Sri Lanka do have a reputation of preserving the Dhamma, and especially when famines took place, the Tripitaka was first written down in Sri Lanka as well in the 1st century. So the establishment of the Sangha Sasana took place in Esala full moon day in Sri Lanka. So Poson full moon day was the introduction of Buddhism. The establishment of Sangha or Sasana was on Esala full moon day. It is also recorded that one of the great Chaityas or Swarnamali or Ruanvali Saya, Swarnamali Chaitya and Swarnamali Chaitya, in Anuradhapura, so the foundation stone was, or the laying of the foundation took place, on such full moon day, and also the instruction Gamini or Duttagamana took place. So Sri Lankans and Buddhists would also be, if possible, congregating around Ruanvali, because this was the day when the relics of the Buddha was enshrined in Ruanvali Saya. And one of the great Chaityas, pagodas in Sri Lanka, in Anuradhapura. And the last important information I wanted to share with the significance of the Asala full moon day is the sacred tooth relic, the Buddha, one of the Buddha's incisors, or one of the Dalada. So that was taken or brought to Sri Lanka by Princess Hemamala and Prince Danta on such full moon day. Okay, so whoever goes to Sri Lanka or visits Sri Lanka as a pilgrimage would never ever avoid the tooth relic. Okay, so during this time, obviously there is the procession, and that is also displayed in the month of July/August, it depends. So the Perahara also takes place, but visiting the tooth relic temple, Sri Dalada Maligawa, makes so the tooth relic was brought to Sri Lanka on a full moon day as such. So you can see, so it's quite a great significant full moon day, and the observances should therefore trace back to the most important one is the delivery of, or the fact that the Dhamma was made available to the world today. okay, on Asala full moon day. So it's quite important to reflect on the knowledge that we can gain through the understanding of the first sermon. The entire Buddhism can be, narrowed down to his first sermon. Everything the Buddha said is in the first sermon. So we observe 8 precepts, to actually restrain ourselves. Once we observe 8 precepts, we retreat from our day-to-day, expectations or behavior or routine to simply, calm your body and mind. So observing sila or precepts help you to restrain and calm your physical side. So once we do that, we then engage in the mental side as well, which is samadhi. We try to calm our mind down as well. So sile patitai narosapanyo, chittang panyancha bhavayi. So because the Buddhist path, what the Buddha laid out in the first sermon can be seen from there. Okay, so in the Eightfold Path we have once we accept the Buddha Dhamma Sangha as refuge, then the gradual training starts from sila. So that's why on Uposatha days or full moon days, Buddhists usually observe 8 precepts, if possible 10, the path starts from sila. Okay, sila. Then slowly, once the sila is more matured, or in the process itself, there is an opportunity for samadhi, where we meditate and then slowly develop not just concentration, one-pointedness, but also it is important that so just pleasing yourself, as if everything would, your happiness solely comes from this indulgence in senses. Okay, and then there were another group or another thought process or the thinking pattern or group called, if to achieve happiness, perhaps at least in the next life, you need to actually mortify or give harm or torture your harm or whatever you call that. You might want to call it ascetic practice. You might want to call giving up things. It is what the ascetic Gautama tried. Lots of dogmatic or vratas or even adopting like lifestyles of animals and all rites and rituals. So practicing those rigorous rites and rituals, hoping that they would liberate your soul, was one of the belief patterns. And therefore, what people desire for is to learning how to let go in an extreme context, perhaps without realizing, as if to just cut off everything. That was what the Attakila Yoga viewpoint was. So when the Buddha approached the 5 ascetics, he said, I come here to tell you that we need to avoid both of those extremes. We have to take the middle path. We have to take a balanced approach. And when he said that, so the middle path, according to Buddha in the sermon, is the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path. When that Eightfold Path, is practiced, then we will attain what the Buddha experienced, what we call Nibbana. Okay, so before he started to lay out those Eightfold Path, he said that our experiences do exist. Our experiences do exist, and those experiences, can be seen as sometimes unpreferable. So there are times when things are quite unpreferable, so we call that dukkha or unhappiness, or I rather use the word dukkha because the absence of happiness translation might change, but suffering might not be the best of all the translations, but maybe absence of happiness, because we still seek something even from that. So there are some analytical ways of looking at what he said is dukkha. Dukkha would be, there are examples given, birth, aging, death, and so and so. So 8 examples in the first sermon. But what is most striking would be the 7th and 8th. Yampi chang nalabhati tampi dukkham. What you expect do not take place. That is dukkha. So even in our sensory experiences day to day, every time there might be something that disappoints or makes you dissatisfied, discontented. So that is dukkha. And last one is clinging to the 5 aggregates, which is obviously the deep context, which obviously most of you will be quite understanding with when I say panchapadana khanda dukkha. So this itself is a deep teaching which requires another day. But what I wanted to share was obviously, if you analyze this again further, there are ways of looking at it in 3 forms. So dukkha. So there's obviously physical and mental pain. And there are and when you hurt yourself, if there are neuroconnections, yes, you feel the pain. So when the nervous system will bring that pain. So and when things happen, like when you change from good health to illness, from life to death, obviously everyone suffers. Even animals feel the pain and they emotionally respond. So maybe dukkha and this dukkha through change or impermanence would be viparinama dukkha. Both these dukkha were quite obvious, but obviously people don't see the viparinama dukkha as one of the reasons, or suffering coming from a change would not want to accept, and therefore always attend to the change, try to change the change, then obviously seeking more dukkha. So people didn't realize this, so trying to change the changing the conditions. So to avoid, we might even dye our hair, we might do lots of things to avoid, because you are not happy to accept the reality, and people then suffer from there as well. But the third one is what leads us to this insight, what the Buddha understood, sankhata, sankhara dukkha, self-created dukkha, or dukkha attaching ourselves to the mental formation or mental creations. So in the event of an experience being unpreferable, we change, we respond with suffering. So event took place with conditions available, but that the way you responded and the way you clinged on to that having identified or personalized that event would be a sanya or sankhara, mental formation. And clinging on to this is what the Buddha told, which is quite different. Other experiences like pain, suffering, I think we don't need the Buddha to tell us. Everyone understands that. But the sankhata dukkha, so what in all he came and told the world was, there is no one that can help you in the sankhata dukkha apart from yourself. You yourself can elevate from that suffering, from that pain, self-created in your minds, reacting to changes due to attachment and aversion, which is again a result of the ignorance of not understanding the conditions and the impermanent nature. Failing to understand that we have control, we do not have control in the events. Failing to understand that the mental formations are simply a reaction of your personality and perhaps ego. We then start identifying ourselves with events and then cause suffering to ourselves. And this is what the Buddha said: you have to do it yourself. Do it yourself. No external agency can actually liberate you from this self-created suffering. So therefore, then the Buddha said there is a cause for this. The cause is your attachment. Attachment to the sensory experiences, sensual experiences, attachment for its longevity, and sometimes when there is aversion or disagreement or dissatisfaction, the disappearance or anticipating the disappearance of it, kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha, is the reason. So where you are able to let go of this, vimutti. So in the Dhammacakkappavattana we have the word synonyms for the ceasing would be mutti analayo patinissago, the ability to let go, to free yourself from this, because once you have created this identity, once you have created this personalization in the events, you have created a self within it. So learn how to let go of this anatta. So don't be a magnet to it. Analayo, mutti, free yourself from it, liberate yourself from it. Then there is peace, nibbana, because nivana, tanhakkayo nibbanang, dosakkayo nibbanang, mohakkayo nibbanang. Letting go or ceasing of greed, hate, ignorance is nibbana. So in the sutta we have nekkam patinissago mutti analayo, chago patinissago mutti analayo. So the sermons and during the day might focus on those, and you can enhance your knowledge on this basic explanation of the Four Noble Truths which I'm trying to give you. So the dukkha has to be understood, parinyeya. The cause has to be eradicated, pahatabba. Once you do that, then you have nibbana, or the ceasing of suffering or ceasing of dukkha would be to satchikata, to attain. And the last one is the Eightfold Path, which we just said, sila, samadhi, panya, the gradual path towards enlightenment, which is also the middle way in what we emphasize in Buddhism. So that has to be practiced, bhavetabba. So aryu arthangiko maggo, the Eightfold Path needs to be practiced, bhavetabba. So when you practice sila, as we are doing today, then you slowly restrain your physical, and verbal, we don't attend to our needs. We try to be neutral, neither pursue or neither sort of resist. You have to be determined to resist your pursuit and your entertainment or your likes and dislikes. Just make sure you are neutral and just observe and refrain from breaking the 8 precepts. That will then help you to slowly start developing. Once your body and words are calm, your mind will start to also be calm, and you will slowly be able to start meditating and practice letting go. When you start realizing and practice letting go, we call in the second factor, which is part of the wisdom in the Eightfold Path, nekkhamma sankappa, learning how to let go. So letting go is releasing, freeing yourself by understanding what is important, essential. Then only we can start developing samma ditthi, right understanding. So letting go of your ego, letting go of your likes and dislikes, letting go of your personalities, fixed views. We always have an opinion of everything, judgmental attitudes, prejudices, they all are nurtured by ego. They all are nurtured by your likes and dislikes, your memories, your tastes. No matter whatever you call that, you can. Some people see themselves in every experience. This is the self that we are trying to let go. So once you learn how to let go, you let go through the realization of that comes through practice, that comes through understanding the Dhamma, and we are broadcasting this for you to understand the Dhamma clearly. So one of the letting go, or one of the things that stops you from achieving enlightenment or stops you from understanding the Dhamma would be the five hindrances, pancha nivana. Okay, so that is once you understand this and slowly trot the path, you'll understand what these hindrances do to ourselves and how they actually stop us from practicing the Dhamma. So to support your understanding, I have invited Venerable Ajahn Sujan to continue to talk about this Dhamma. So most of you know Ajahn Sujan. Venerable Sujan is from Nepal. He lives in Aberdeen in Scotland, and he is the abbot of the Varapunya Meditation Center, and he is a regular contributor to our religious observances. Every time I ask him to come and help us. In those days before we had this online, he used to come to London simply upon my request. And a very close Dhamma friend, he has been helpful to most of our ceremonies. Even when I was at the Kingsbury Vihara, he used to come to the children's program. So at the moment he is very busy up in Scotland, Aberdeen. So he is happy to do. He's happy to continue with this, on the 5 hindrances, to understand how it actually affects our practice, and how we need to slowly learn how to minimize and take the path towards enlightenment. So I take great pleasure in inviting Most Venerable Ajahn Sujan, Prajahn Sujan, who will be talking to us from Aberdeen, Scotland, on 5 hindrances. So I will invite the Most Venerable to begin his contribution and sermon. So please listen to the sermon. He is delivering from Aberdeen.
Namato Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. First of all, my respect also goes to Venerable Sumana, who is my brother monk, who is the chief abbot of London Mindfulness Meditation Center, who has invited me to give a talk today. And my blessings goes to everyone who are attending this online retreat on the occasion of full moon day of Asala Puja, or Asala Puja Purnima, the day when the venerable monks will observe the Vasa for 3 months. And one of the very special days in Buddhist calendar. It is the day believed that Bodhisattva Siddhartha was descended from the heavens to the mother's womb in Kapilavatthu, Nepal. And it is also the day believed that at the age of 29, he, the prince Siddhartha, left the palace for the search, the true search. And after 6 years of dedication and determination, he became the Buddha. And after he became the Buddha, he gave the first discourse on the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, also known as given on this day of Asala Purnima. And on the day when the Venerable Kandanya was also become the first disciples of the Buddha. That's why some classified this day as the Dhamma day, in a way because the Buddha gave the first discourse And some also regard this day as a Sangha day, because on the day when the Sangha, the Venerable Kandanya was the first, the disciples of the Buddha become the real disciples of the Buddha. But most importantly, this day is the day when monks have to observe the Vassa for the 3 months, basically taking this vow that this 3 months time will not travel away from the temple more than 7 days, and that 7 days, and again, if necessary, let's say the parents are not well, the communities for the ordination and the issues and such. So 7 days are allowed to go away. But apart from that, monks have to observe this Vassa for 3 months. And as a result, these 3 months become a ways to accumulate the teachings and a practice, the Dhamma. At least these 3 months time, householders or the lay followers can confirm that we will have monks for 3 months, and take these opportunities. Lay people will visit the center or the temples and learn and practice the Dhamma. So on this same occasion, Venerable Sumana has organized this online retreat for you all during this pandemic. And I'm very glad to see and hear that there are so many people are interested and joining in to this program. Today I am invited to give a talk on hindrances, which is also known as Nivarana. A hindrance, or the hindrances basically that obstructs our practice, obstructs from attaining our goals, or simply the obstructions, or that hinders our aims and our practices. And here it is not just for the practice of a meditation or a development of the meditation. I would regard these hindrances that we can see in our day-to-day life too, in daily life too. Suppose you have aims and objectives in your life and you're working through it, but somehow you see something more better, or you see you feel that something is better than what you have now, or you feel that something is better than what is doing, and as a result, for sometimes you hinder by not committing to practice as you have thought for. And with that, that hinders your practice or your work, and as a result you cannot attain the aims. And sometimes you're working through it and somehow you cannot attain, or you cannot do as you wished for. Maybe one day you have target to do this much, but you cannot fulfill. And again, that moment you will generate ill will or hate. And that hate again sometimes towards someone who is working with you, or someone who is close to you, or someone who is partner. And other times again become a lazy, become a tired, and also hinders our work. Other time just simply become a restless in a way that the work that we are doing, whether it is right or wrong, whether the method that we are applying is good or bad, or the method that we are applying may not be working, so we try to use some other methods. And once we have done that, again that creates worry that we will not be able to attain the objectives that we have already. And other times, doubt within ourselves, a doubt about the aims, a doubt about our own self, whether I can do it or not, a doubt about the knowledge, doubt about the companions, so and so. And as a result of that, that hinders our persistence of work. And with that, we cannot achieve the goal. So that's why the hindrances that Buddha spoke is not just the hindrances that hinder our practice, but also we can see it affects in our day-to-day life too. Nevertheless, in Buddhism, mostly it is spoken or explained to see that how it hinders our practice and how we give up our practice. So basically it is obstruction that that hinders our practice. It closes the doors for the success. Okay? So that's why hindrances is one of the very important dhammas and principles that one has to understand, one has to realize, and one has to abandon in order to get the calmness, in order to get the insight, and in order to get the clear knowledge to discern clearly. So that's why hindrances in Buddhism basically means that hinders or obstructs not able to attain the calmness of the mind, serenity of the mind. And the second is it hinders or obstructs attaining from insight, or able to discern clearly. So that's why the hindrances that Buddha spoke, there are two ways to overcome. Number one is separation, and number two is ability to understand it clearly and eliminate completely. So that's why these hindrances we need to work in order to attain this and understand it. And obviously, when we talk about the hindrances, we cannot overlook the meditation part. So in Buddhist meditation, there are two types of a meditation that you may know. One is samatha meditation, and the second is vipassana meditation. Samatha meditation basically having an object to concentrate, and the mind is fully focused on, fully concentrated. Mind becomes zoned in. When mind becomes zoned in, and then we attain the serenity, we attain the calmness of the mind. But if there is a hindrances, then that hindrances will stop or will obstruct us to attaining so-called the neighborhood concentration or the upachara samadhi, and then also attainment concentration or the appana samadhi. So basically, practice of a samatha meditation is to suppress these 5 hindrances. And these 5 hindrances suppressed completely, and only then we will attain the different levels of concentration. Different levels of concentration. And the separation is, again, as long as we are contemplating on, then we will be able to suppress it. Otherwise, as soon as we give up concentrating on the object, then these will come back again. And the second practice is vipassana meditation. And the practice of a vipassana meditation is not about suppression. It's about realization. It's about understanding, realizing, and ability to uproot it from its root level. That's why it is in the Satipatthana Sutta part of the Dhammanupassana. The first practice in Dhammanupassana is the practice of understanding the Nivaranas. And now, first practice, when we start practicing meditation, we suppress it by concentrating on object. So we are suppressing kama chanda, the sensual pleasure, ill will, the vyapada, the thinamida, the sloth and torpor, and uttajakukucha is restlessness and worry and doubt. These all fives are suppressed by mentally, with your intention, choosing an object to be attending, So with your intention, you are paying attention to an object and fully joined in, and that basically, that moment, you are suppressing these five hindrances. But once we have practiced significantly, or we have developed meditation in some levels, at that moment when we are contemplating on Dhammanupassana, these sensual pleasures, ill will, and sloth and torpor, the sleepiness and the restless mind, the worry and doubt, we cannot suppress it anymore. We have to overcome it. We have to understand it and take it away from our hearts and minds, and let them not be the feathers that blocks our attainment. Like a kama chanda, we have to overcome, and once we have overcome, the level of attainment is the anagami. As long as we still have this kama chanda, then we will not be able to attain the anagami, the non-returner. The same as the vyapada, or the ill will. So, this kama chanda, or the ill will, is also part of the creation of these desires. As a kama chanda, kama tanha, kama raga, kama upadana. Yeah? So these are based on the greed or the raga, a lust. And these worlds simply take us around in the samsara. When our eye sees something, pleasant things arises, then we generate lust. When ear hears something which is again the pleasant, then again we go on with that raga, or the lust generates. And not just generating these defilements or these thoughts, it's called a kamupadana. We hold on to that view, hold on to that lust, hold on to that thought and identity and existence, and that takes us into the cycle of a birth and a death. And now, the practice of a meditation is to understand that. And rather than having a grasping nature, grasping onto this lustful desires or the sensual pleasures, we simply take it away, understanding it and let it be. Let's give you an example. Suppose today you are practicing meditation now, and you're feeling very tired, or you're feeling very uncomfortable, and suddenly you may well have thought, oh, meditation is very hard. Meditation is not taking anywhere. It's feeling so bored. Just the sitting, closed eyes and listening to talks of boring, no entertainment, no excitement. Wish if I am at home or properly not attaining this retreat, I would have watch this movie or this CDs and having seated in a comfortable seat or a sofa, relax. So that is the Kama Chanda, taking control. Yeah? That's why we need to be very mindful of that. So Kama Chanda is a desire that takes us into the cycle of a birth and a death. And there is another Chanda, it's called the Kusala Dhamma Chanda. And basically, the wholesome thoughts, desire to do good things or desire to do wholesome actions. And that basically takes us into the path to the liberation. And that comes under the right effort. Knowing this mental state which is lustful and take it away, and developing the wholesome thoughts. Even nowadays you can see, if there is a party, let's say birthday party or anniversary party or the graduation party, doesn't matter how busy we are, we can make time for it. But let's say coming to the temple, let's say coming to attend the retreat, doing good things, we always have excuses not to attain. Excuses that, oh, I have this job to do, I have that job to do, I have this responsibility to fulfill, so and so. And that simply, the Kama Chanda is working towards taking us into the cycle of a birth and a death. And again, when we are under the influence of the Kama Chanda, we never will be satisfied with it. There is a simile is given. It's like a meatless bone that a dog is eating. The dog's hunger will never cease. Basically eating meatless bones, never satisfied. So another is sex. Doesn't matter how many times you have it, it never satisfies one. Always wanting to have more and more. And same with the desire to satisfy something, and never satisfies. That's why there's another simile given, is like it is like a borrowed items. As long as the owner hasn't come back and claim it back, we can rejoice, we can entertain, but at the end of the day we have to give up, and all the entertainments will go on. So this is the Kama Chanda that we have to overcome, particularly when we are meditating. Suppose in a meditation step, suppose you have a cushion, a comfortable cushion to begin with, and as you sit, you began to have a pains in your legs or in your backs, and then began to thought, oh, I should have another more cushion so it makes me comfortable, or I should have seated on a cushion, so on a chair or on a sofa, so I can relax myself. But there is no satisfaction at all. Doesn't matter which state, which position you take, doesn't matter which comfortable seats you take, there always will be discomfort. And that's simply because the Kama Tanha, the Kama Chanda. So all what we can do is to realize that, understanding this mental state, then ability to accept, respect, and let it be. And the second, it is ill will, or the vyapada. I think it's very famous. Famous in the practice of a meditation, and whenever you go on teaching, the first question people will ask is the anger, and it's a very classical example, the anger. It's called vyapada, or ill will. And this ill will or hate can be personal and can be channeled to external too. Personal in a way, sometimes you are working and we are practicing meditation, and one day you got a good meditation and next day you cannot have the same meditation, then that generates ill will, hate. And we'll have hate on the object that you are working on, or it also like the hate on the environment and so on. And sometimes it would blame other people too, blaming other people that, oh, maybe this is because of that, and anger generates. So this ill will, again, it's a very important mental factor that we can experience in our day-to-day life as well. In the practice, we will experience it a lot. Yeah, we experience it a lot, and it's simply because these are simply because not happening what we wish for, not happening what we want it for. And in those cases, the first thing we have to do is to generate the contentment, satisfaction. And with that, it helps us to make it workable. Basically, ill will makes us unable to see things clearly and unable to work properly because of the mixing of things. The first thing, we cannot see it clearly because our mind is clouded. Our mind is boiling, or we are boiling like the boil of water boiled. When you are boiling, you cannot reflect your face from that boiling water. So the clarity has gone. And my advice in that way, that is, no one can make us angry or clouded mind unless we permit ourselves. And the second, it's not workable simply because it's like a copper and a metal and silver is mixed with the gold. And goldsmith immediately knows that it is not workable. So you have to take away that that take away these metal, silver and copper from the gold, and only then it is workable. It is workable. And this ill will also can cause harm to our physical body and as well as mental body, mental state. And as a result, we do not see the benefit of ourselves and then a benefit of others and benefit of both. And then that's the reason why that we have to take it away, overcome that. And overcoming this ill will is basically, the classical one is the practice of a loving kindness. And this practice of a loving kindness is, again, we start off from sharing it to own self and then to others, which Venerable Sumana had been broadcasting and practicing and leading everyone to practice loving kindness meditation almost every night. So these are simply to overcome the ill will, overcome this hatred, and it's called a vyapada. In terms of the physical illnesses, in Chulakamma Vibhanga Sutta, Buddha said that one of the reasons why we have an ugly face, or not beautiful, not handsome, is basically we are harboring this ill will, this hatred. But again, the question is, what is the beauty or what is the ugliness? And it's based on how we define. So it's not to generalize that those who are feeling that not beautiful or not handsome and feeling ugly are simply because you have this mindset, or you had been, this in the influence of this vyapada, ill will. So that is the ill will. And the third one is the tina midda, sloth and torpor, or also known as the dullness and drowsiness. So sloth and torpor, sloth or the tina is basically the making us or mentally feeling boredom, mentally feeling dullness, mentally feeling laziness. And this, what happens is that we will not be able to see things clearly. It's like something is blocking us. Sloth and torpor is basically as something is covering, something is the blocking us to see things as they truly are. And this again, we can see that dullness and drowsiness is basically internally stuck. And this again, many beginners, meditation practitioners will face this sloth and torpor a lot. And I also was suffering from it quite a lot. And particularly if I am working physically hard, then when I go to meditation, normally I will go on a dozing off, sleepiness. That's why torpor, the sloth, is the mental tiredness, mental boredness, mental dullness, and the torpor is the physical tiredness. So that's why in this process Buddha gave ways to deal with that. That's why when we meditate, first of all we have to check whether it is a mental slothness or whether it is the physical torpor. If that's a mental, then you have to work it out, how to overcome it. But if that's a physical, then you can just go and have a rest. If that's a mental sloth, then you have to energize yourself to pay attention to the object that you are working on. Let's say the breathing in and breathing out. So from inside, you're motivating yourself, energizing yourself to pay attention to this in-breath and out-breath so closely, an ability to make a mental note each time when you observe it. Let's say breathing in, and I know that breathing in. So basically, I know that I am breathing in is the consciously aware of that. So that's a mental note. If you can make it mental note so strong, then this sloth will go away. But if that is the physical sloth, the torpor, this physical tiredness, then there are ways to do it. The first, Buddha said that change the posture. Change the object of concentration. Suppose you are paying attention to the breath, you can change to the pains, or observe this legs, or scan, the body scan, or feel the sensations like that. And still feeling sleepiness, change the posture. And after you have changed the posture and you still feel sleepiness, then says this drag like this, pulling it to wake you up. And if still there, then again stand up. And still there, walk. And still there, wash your face. The scripture used sprinkle water in your eyes just to make you wake up. And if you still feel sleepy, then you just need to go and take a rest. Do not struggle anymore. But obviously, it doesn't matter whether we are beginners or whether we have been practicing meditation for a long time. It is bound to have these moments of a sleepiness. It is very bound to have it. But if you have been meditating for some times, you will realize that the sleepiness is something that when we are unable to pay attention to the present moment awareness, and our mind is simply settled into the past memories or the past incidents, then it's very easy to doze off. Another time, mind simply went into the deep meditation, and that also possible of going into the sleepiness. That's called sloth and torpor. And this is like Buddha gave a simile, is like a bowl of water, let's say a bowl of water which is overgrown by the moss. The moss has covered all around, and that's the reason being unable to see properly. And that's why one who has overcome from the sloth and torpor is similar to like coming out from prison. So that's the third hindrances. And the fourth hindrances is the uddhacca kukucca. And uddhacca kukucca is the restlessness and remorse. And now restlessness, uddhacca is a restlessness, and this restlessness again basically is not finding joy, or not finding a happiness, or not finding the practice that we are doing is joyful or beneficial. And as a result of that, we cannot get the calmness, and we cannot overcome this restlessness. And as a result of that, when we are practicing meditation, this is also one of the hindrances, that we normally think of the past and think of the future rather than aware of the present moment awareness, what's happening here and now. Or the object that you are paying attention to, you do not see it as the interesting one. So you have to develop the faith and confidence onto the object that you are paying attention to. And with that, you will get the concentration. When you have a concentration, then this uddhacca will go away. And the kukucca, whereas this kukucca is basically worry. Because you are thinking of too much, and oh, wish I have done this one rather than this one. Or so let's say, oh, I should have meditated, on a cushion like this, or I should have meditated on an object of abdominal rising, falling, rather than the breathing in and out. So with this restless mind, you're thinking and not able to make a decisive onto the object, and gradually you will develop this weariness, that weariness, that oh, I will not be able to attain, or I will not be able to achieve. Yeah? And that's the reason. Another way of looking at it, restlessness simply, striving too much for the attainment, or for the attaining the calmness or understanding the Dhamma. If you are striving too much, that also causes this restlessness, and worry simply begins after the restlessness. Yeah? And the restlessness is sometimes not just coming from inside, but also coming from the environment. As we have engaged in our day-to-day life, then that also comes into the restless mind. And particularly unwholesome actions that we have done, then as soon as we meditate, these will come into play and disturbs our meditation. And that is the reason behind why people, or why the meditators are encouraged to observe the 5 precepts before going into any retreats or any meditation states or meditation practices. Because when you are practicing a meditation without observing the 5 precepts, all the actions that we have performed in the past, distant past or near past, will come and play in our meditation. But as soon as we have observed, we are free from the time when we observe the 5 precepts. Basically, our verbal actions are free, physical actions are free. That gives you a confidence. Although we may have done something wrong, and I'm pretty sure who hasn't got the history. We all have a history, but as soon as we have observed the 5 precepts or 8 precepts, then from now on we can make sure that we are free from any violations, any offense, and that develops the confidence. And with this confidence, the restless will go, worriness will go. And with this, what happens is it brings some sort of a calmness in our mind, and so-called obhasa, the lights achieve. And I have seen so many practitioners, those who have shared their practice, saying that they have attained or they have seen these signs of a light. Basically, these perceptions of the lights will come, and that is the results of having the calmness of the mind. Basically, the mind has come into the oneness. There is no restless mind. The mind is not fighting with the past or the future, or even with the nature of this object itself. And as a result of that, we will attain this lights. Right? Buddha gave a simile saying that when we have the restless mind, it's like a bowl of water steered by wind and ripples and waves, making impossible to see properly, and which we can see it clearly. When the water is steered by wind and creating the ripples, it's very unlikely that we can see things inside what's in there, whether a beautiful fish or whether there's any gems or stones or pebbles. We will not be able to see it clearly. And we will not be able to work properly either. And we have no confidence in making any judgments. We have no confidence on our own thoughts and own plans. We will be just the followers rather than the leader. So, in order to come away or overcome this restlessness and worry, first we have to do is to observe the 5 precepts. Observe the 5 precepts. When we observe the 5 precepts, we basically free from any past difficulties or violations, and we will be able to overcome it. And we will be able to recognize properly that what are the physical and mental, so physical and verbal unwholesome actions that we have committed. So ever since we observe the 5 precepts, basically we are free, and which also narrows mind from wandering around, and will be only one is the mental state. So we work with that, and ability to, and then developing the faith and confidence on the method, and with that we will be able to overcome this sloth and torpor, the restlessness and worry. One more thing I want to add on in this restlessness and worry is that past is gone. You cannot undo. It's a lesson that we have learned. We shouldn't be repent on that. We shouldn't be having, thinking and going and repenting that I shouldn't have done that, or wish I should have taken the right path or the left path. So should not have that repent over the wrong things that one has done, and do not think that I should have done this or that. Go on with what we have now and practicing along with it, and that's how you will be overcoming from the restlessness. So first, build up the confidence. First, practice the 5 precepts. Second, build up the confidence on the object. Build up the confidence. And the third is finding the joy and benefit of paying attention to the object and dedication. And with that, you will be able to overcome the restlessness. And the 5th hindrance is known as the vichikicha. Vichikicha, or the doubt. So doubt is like internal obstructions that obstruct to develop the insight and tranquility In terms of the tranquility, we can see that when we have a doubt, basically we cannot concentrate. And if in terms of the insight, what happens is that it binds us into, when we don't have an insight, it binds us into the samsara. So we are simply going back into the samsara again and again. And a doubt, when we look at the commentaries, it says doubt on the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, doubt on the trainings, doubt on the methods, doubt on the teachers, like that. When we have a doubt, it is basically, closes the doors. Closes the doors. And another simile is given like a good seed you have, but you have planted on a stony ground. Then that seed will not grow, that seed will not prosper, and it's become a very unproductive. So that's why doubt, another way of looking at is the very moment when we have a doubt, it's unproductive, it's difficult to product. It's like you have a water in a darkness, so you don't know, and you cannot reflect your face on it, or the water is muddy, so you cannot reflect your face and you cannot see that. And this doubt can be external and internal. And in terms of the this doubt, external or internal, these basically about the past, present and the future, and doubt about the past, present and the future. And whenever these things arises, if we have an unwise attention, then we will not be able to overcome. But if we have a wise attention on this, then we will be able to overcome. And this doubt can be a good too, if we use it properly. And when we look at the Kalama Sutta, Buddha said that we have to have a doubt. It is very good to have a doubt. But here, doubt doesn't mean a doubt on the teachings itself. A doubt is good if we use it properly. If we are having a wise attention, then doubt is good. But not a doubt and you are not investigating. The very moment when you have a wise attention on that doubt, that's become a Dhamma Vichaya. The wisely reflecting, it's become a wisdom part. And when it has become a wisdom part, then that's very, very good. Even in meditation, if you have a doubt, then that doubt will generate wisdom, and it will help you to generate vijja and vimutti. Further on, if you push hard, if you push too hard to attain something, and that also creates doubt, because you've been working so hard and you cannot attain the objectives that you were thinking of, and as a result that generates the doubt. And and also high expectation. If you have a high expectation, then also is a cause for the doubt. So rather than having this, too much hard on yourself or expectation, simply do it as you have. Simply just do it. Or the second way of overcoming a doubt is to listen the dhammas, listen the advice, read the books, read the good books, and having a kalyana mitta. Yeah, and this is also part of the sotapanna, the third feathers, the doubt. In order to overcome, that's why to be a sotapanna, first is to have a good kalyana mitta. And after you have a good kalyana mitta, you listen the advice. And after you have listened the advice, pondering, reflecting, and after you have reflected on, pondered on, keep it into practice. So once you have practiced properly and investigated properly, and then that's how you will be overcoming that. And this is how you will overcome. The last bit of this practice of overcoming the hindrances, the Buddha advice is, whenever these 5 hindrances arises in your mind, know that these hindrances has been arised in your mind, and knowing as they truly are. Understand that you have got these hindrances in your minds, ability to understand that and to be understood properly, and then after you have understood it, realize it, and abandoning it, and then developing the concentration, developing the mindfulness and clear awareness, and cultivating towards it, and with that you will be attaining the full liberation. Yeah? So that's why these 5 hindrances is also a part of the feathers that we have to overcome. Doubt, as being a last of the 5 hindrances, is the qualities to be overcome by the sotapannas as a third quality, whereas this kamachanda, greed, and vyapada, the hatred, and the tinamida is the ignorance or the moha. These things also part of the feathers that one has to overcome. The very moment once you have overcome it, then the first you will attain is until the third noblehood, and finally you will be able to attain the vijja and vimutti, and that's how you will overcome. But obviously it's not easy to overcome, particularly even the first one, the kama tanha, the sensual pleasure. It's very difficult to see as well, very difficult to identify it's coming into our mind. Whereas the vyapada, the ill will and the hatred or the anger, it's very easy to detect, very easy to see, and very easy to work on with it. And similarly, the restless mind also, we can see it a lot, and we can work on that too, easily. Whereas the first, the kama chanda, the sensual pleasure, sloth and torpor, and the doubt, is very difficult to overcome. But with the practice, persistent practice, gradually we will be able to overcome it one after another, and then finally we will be able to completely overcome. And that's how we will be stepping on this from the Dhammanupassana. Once we have overcome it, then we will be able to understand the 5 aggregate. What are these things? And once we have overcome these 5 aggregate, then we will be developing the understanding to abandon the avidya and tanha, so the ignorance and cravings or desire, and then developing the serenity and insight. With that, once we have developed the serenity and insight, then we will be realizing true knowledge and wisdom, which leads to the liberation. So on this occasion of this the Vassa day, Vassa retreat, all you've been practicing, although you've been practicing online. May this talk will help you to overcome all these 5 hindrances and finally able to attain the true knowledge and vision and also calmness and serenity and insight. So again, would like to thank you, Venerable Sumana, for inviting me to be part of this retreat, and may all who are following, who are attending this retreat, attain calmness, attain the wisdom, and attain the true knowledge for the liberation. With this practice, may you be free from all kinds of sufferings, and may this be cause for the liberation in the near future. With the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, may you be well and happy. Bhavatu Sappha Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So thank you, Venerable Prachan Suchan from Aberdeen, Abbot of Varapunya Meditation Center, advising and instructing how to minimize or get rid of the 5 hindrances that stop you from attaining the or even experiencing the path of enlightenment, which the Buddha let us know today on such full moon day. So thank you, Prachan Suchan, for all your time, especially quite dedicating even for our congregation and listeners and audience here to enlighten them with the basics. Very well said, how the 5 hindrances stop us from developing or even committing to the practice, to the path. So it is essential how you put that. Knowledge is not important, you need to start learning how to dip yourself into the waters, to learn your strokes, to actually cross the waves or the rivers of samsara. Okay, so the 5 hindrances are what we have to at least learn how to minimize to get into the path of enlightenment. So as I said earlier, it is important to realize that once you slowly start working on your physical and verbal restraints, working on trying to control your senses, your words, then it will slowly help us to practice meditation as well. So we hope to do some practices later on towards the afternoon. It is now time for Buddha Puja. So before we, if you have arranged your lunch for today, can you also get your puja, Buddha Puja, the offering to the Buddha before lunch ready, so that you can join us live and participate in the offerings to the Buddha before lunch. After lunch, we will do chanting of Bojjhanga Suttas, following which we will do meditation before we listen to the Dhamma sermons in Sinhala. So they will be chanting at 12:30 and then meditation until 1:30. So once we do that, it'll help us to gradually practice and understand what the Buddha said as well. So we hope the instruction and the reflection Ajahn Suchan gave will be helpful for you to actually make more commitment and dedication to the practice today. So I look forward to meeting you up soon. So do have your Buddha Puja ready. We will start our Buddha Puja at 11 o'clock. Dear friends, I hope Pinotini, I hope you are ready for Buddha Puja. So before we partake our own lunch, we will make the offerings to the Buddha, the first portion of food. So today we have two families, Rukshan Senevratna, Mr. and Mrs. Rukshan Senevratna, and Mr. and Mrs. Asanga Siambalagoda. Those two families have brought dana to the temple. If the observation of the full moon day, if the participation of the full moon day observations took place at the temple, they would be offering dana to everyone. But now they have brought dana to the temple, and we are making offerings to the Buddha. So we hope you will join in the recitation as usual. So first of all, please bear in mind the offerings of the Buddha is a mark of gratitude, and we make the offerings to the Buddha with great respect, especially on a day like this, when the Dhamma was made available to the world. We show our deep, sincere respect to the Buddha for such wonderful teachings. So if you have observed 8 precepts, you do not need to observe 5 precepts. The rest, if you are participating online, please say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa 3 times. Panchil Samadhana Namaste. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Pānātipātā vīramani sikkhapaдаṃ samādhiyāmi, Adinādānā vīramani sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Kāmesu miccācārā vīramani sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Musāvādā vīramani sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Surāmiraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vīramani sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi, Tisaraṇena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammaṃ appamādena sampādetabaṃ. Okay, so we will worship the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagavā arahaṃ samma sambuddho Vijjācarana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarathi Sattha deva manussānaṃ buddho bhagavāti Swakkhāto bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko Akāliko ehipassiko opanayiko Paccattaṃ veditambo viññohiti Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ujjupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Patipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Sāmīci patipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Yadidaṃ cattari purisa yugāni Aṭṭha purisa pukkala Esa bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttaraṃ puññakkhetaṃ lokassāti Kanasārappadittena dīpena tamadhaṃ sinā තිලෝකදීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමෝනුදං වන්නගන්ධ ගුණපේතං ඒතං කුසුම පූජයාමි මුනින්දස්ස සිරිපාද සරෝරුහේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුසුමේන නේන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේ නච හෝතු මොක්ඛං පුප්පං මිලායාති යථායි ධම්මේ කායෝ තථායාති විනාශ භාවං අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ පානීයං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ භෝජනං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ සබ්බං සද්ධාය පූජිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම වන්දාමි චේතියං සම්බං සබ්බඨානේසු පටිච්චිතං සාරීරික ධාතු මහා බෝධිං බුද්ධ රූපං සකලං සදා යස්ස මූලේ නිසින්නෝව සම්බාරි විජයං අකා පත්තෝ සබ්බඤ්ඤුතං සත්තා වන්දේ තං බෝධිපාදපං ඉමේ ඒතේ මහා බෝධි ලෝකනාථේන පූජිතා අහම්පිතේ නමස්සාමි බෝධි රාජා නමස්තුතේ කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමි භන්තේ භූරි පඤ්ඤ තථාගත කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමි ධම්ම සන්දිට්ඨික අකාලික කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමි සංඝ සුපටිපන්න අනුත්තර එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්භතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ දේවා අනුමෝදන්තු සම්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්භතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ භූතා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා එත්තාවතාච අම්හෙහි සම්භතං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සම්බේ සත්තා අනුමෝදන්තු සම්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමි බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤං ආසවක්ඛයා වහං හෝතු සම්බ දුක්ඛා පමුංචතු සාදු සාදු සාදු. change of location. Sorry about that. Okay, so as we mentioned, today the religious observances is being broadcast live from London Mindfulness Meditation Center. The observations for Asalha Full Moon Day or Esala Poya Day has been sponsored by two families, Mr. and Mrs. Rukshan Shaneviratna and Mr. and Mrs. Asangasyam Balagoda. So both families, along with their children, are participating online and here, making offerings to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So having brought dana and made offerings, we are now going to offer the food to the Sangha. So before I do that, I will explain a little bit about the concept of dana. So as much as those families are very close to the center and supporting us ever since its inception, they have been regularly helping us every time whenever there is a great need for the temple. So every gesture, along with their children, visiting the temple and supporting us, every gesture of kindness is called dana. Okay, so dana is the ability to release, to sacrifice. Okay, do you know the meaning of dana? In general translation, it starts with the letter G. Jenna? Giving. Very good. Very good. So giving. Another one, when you don't give but you are quite generous. Very good. So the practice of generosity, you can call sacrifice. So to give, you don't necessarily have to give physical things, isn't it? You can be kind, you can help someone. Going out of your way is the most important in a concept in giving. Okay, letting go of your call, but then you can go out of your way, and when you go out of your way, sometimes it becomes more effective, it becomes more important. So the practice of generosity starts from being able to release what you have, like materials. Okay, so there are two types of giving. One is called giving away. Okay, when you give away, we throw a party, we give the things that people need. So sometimes you can give food to the homeless people, you can give food to orphanages, you can give food to elderly people, elderly homes. That's what we practice in Sri Lanka sometimes. And even here we give, and we do lots of fundraisings. They're all part of giving. So that when we give that, it is about releasing the connection that you have with what you own, what you possess. And that is why we say sometimes we have to remember that there's a big difference between that sort of giving, because sometimes when you give like that, it is very good because you do give things that you have for yourself. It's very important. But the psychological transformation is called giving up. So when I say psychological transformation, it is about giving up from your mind as well, not just from your hand. Okay, so when you just give away like what you have, sometimes if you start thinking about, I don't know what this homeless person made use of this money, is it for food or is it for something else? If you start questioning, then you haven't released from your mind. It has gone from your pocket, that £5 for example, but it hasn't gone from your mind. So the gradual practice is we start giving away like what we have, but ultimately we are trying to learn how to give up. When you learn how to give up, as a family, you are always contributing and working with the temple, it becomes what we call paramita. It's like one of the first thing that you have to learn how to master to become like the Buddha. Paramita is, there are 10 paramitas, and the first one is to be perfect in the art of giving. So when you give like that, you are wholesomely practicing something, as I said, even learning how to give up mentally. So when you learn how to give up mentally, we start giving up not just the things that you like, not just the things that you have, you are able to then gradually let go of the things that you don't have, like your negative emotions, what you don't like negative emotions. So that paramita becomes a strong practice for that's the first stepping stone for that spiritual practice. So as Buddhists, what we do is we always focus on this generosity, because it really helps us in the transformation of the way we think. So therefore, giving dana is quite important. When you learn how to give, you start learning the art of giving, because we can give from what you have, we can share, we can but then when you learn how to give up, that is the altruistic giving up. So today, if miraculously 2 more monks came, you wouldn't say this dana is not for monks, can you go away? When you give a party, when 2 people knock at the door and come uninvited, you might call the police. But today, if two monks come miraculously to the temple here, because we are learning how to give this altruistically without any self-centered notion. So you don't actually, you have no selfish motives in this giving. So it is for the community, sangha. So if 2 monks, 3 monks come, you will show them the same respect, same food you will share if it is there. And we'll try to share properly with everyone. So this is called altruistic giving. We are not actually making a personal gift. So therefore, when we say imang bhikkhang bhikkhu sangha sadema, you are making this to the whole community of sangha. So this dana is not personal dana, it is dana for the entire community. Because of the lockdown and pandemic, obviously, we don't have people who observe still, otherwise it will be for them as well today. So they are participating online from home, and may all the merit accumulated by this generosity, this dana, may it be a paramita for your spiritual journey to enlightenment. May the gradual practice that you are practicing be helpful for your